Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I am Assistant Chief Jeff Kennedy, and this is the first episode of AFD Rocks. We have a lot to talk about, and we're going to get right to it, but AFD Rock starts right now. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. I like that theme song and that opening. It's quite fitting for what we're trying to do here. So again, welcome to AFD Rocks. I am Assistant Chief Jeff Kennedy. I am 1/3 of the three amigos, and we want to welcome you to this show. Rocks, AFD Rocks stands for Austin Fire Department, reaching out to communities. And we are very excited about this opportunity to reach out and further connect with the Austin community, helping to enhance your safety and resilience. And we want to do that through this video podcast. So today we're going to talk a little wildfire. We're going to unveil the curtain so you can see a little bit behind of what we do and how we are supported by what you all do for us. And we have a special guest today, quite fitting to open up the show. Your fire chief, our boss, Chief Joel G. Baker, will be stopping by to answer a few questions, and we'll have a little fun and do our best not to get fired with our questions. But before we go any further and getting the show on the road, I would like to introduce you to the other two amigos that we have on board, Division Chief Tony Hayden and Division Chief Kerry Stewart. So, Tony, you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then we'll move on to Kerry?
Yeah, hey everybody. I'm Tony Hayden, Division Chief for the Austin Fire Department. I'm really honored to get to be a co-host along with you two. AFD Rocks is going to be awesome. I'm really glad we're getting started.
Great, because for a second there, it said that you were Kerry, so I wasn't sure either.
No.
So now we're on to Chief
right.
Stewart.
Hi, y'all. Kerry Stewart, Division Chief for the Wildfire Division for the Fire Department. Super tickled to be a part of AFD Rocks, and thank you for joining us.
All right. So we're getting ready to transition to our next segment. It's what we would call on the hot seat. So as I said earlier, we had a lot to cover, but I also have a lot of notes too. So if you see me looking down, please don't hold that against me. We just want to make sure that things flow well. I want to be the best point guard or quarterback that I can for this show and opportunity. So today we want to kick things off with your fire chief, Chief Joel G. Baker. Now, as the fire chief of the 14th largest department in the nation, you can best be assured that his schedule is very busy, but we're very happy that he took time out of his busy schedule to spend with us so that you can get to know him in a different way. So he came to us late 2018 from Atlanta, Georgia, and we're happy to have him. But what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Chief Baker so he can tell us a little bit about himself, and then we'll get into some of the questions that we have. Chief Baker, welcome. We appreciate your support. Tell us what you want us to know.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Chief, you and your team for putting together AFD Rocks. I'm excited to be here. You know, as the fire chief, I always have time to speak to our membership as well as the community. You know, as you said earlier, of course, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been here in Austin, Texas now. It's going on my 4th year, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting accustomed to the hot weather we have here in Austin area, Central Texas, and I'm just excited to be here. So fire away with the questions.
All righty. So we thought about questions that we could ask you about your job. But we know that when you're a fire chief, you fire chief, right? So you help run the department and you help coordinate between the other city departments, the things that we can help them with and they can help us with in serving the community. So we reached out to our PIO office and asked what could we do in asking some very interesting questions. So we've got about 9 very interesting questions that really aren't linked to the job, but definitely are linked to who you are so that we can know a little bit more about you. So the first question I have is that you're a dad, with a teenage daughter who's getting ready to make one of the most important decisions in her life, and that's where to go to college.
Yeah.
Tell us what it's like for you.
I am a nervous wreck. My daughter is leaving the nest, and I want to bring her back into the nest. I don't want her to leave. Yeah, but she have a couple of colleges that she's looking at. Syracuse University up in New York, Boston University and Boston College, DePaul, Worcester, American University, and it's about 5 or 6 more she told me about. But I think she narrowed it down to about 3. Brandeis, Boston University, and American University. So we'll see what happens. But I'm a little nervous that she's leaving the home, but as a parent, we just gotta let go and just let them find their way. So she'll be leaving next year, going to somebody's school.
And as far as away as she possibly can, it sounds like.
Yeah, I try to convince her to, look at school here in Texas, but she don't want to be near me, and she don't want to go to school in Georgia because she do not want to be near her mom. So she said she's leaving. I said, all right.
All right. Great answer. So the next question is, we all know that you ride a Harley Davidson motorcycle, but how did you get into riding motorcycles, and why did you pick a Harley?
Well, I never rode a motorcycle in my life until I purchased my first motorcycle. It was a 2017 Harley Davidson Road Glide Ultra. I decided to go with the Harley bike only because I want to be a part of that motorcycle culture, that Harley Davidson culture of just riding. There's a Harley Davidson dealership, probably 5 or 6 in just about every city that you go visit. So like to collect the T-shirts, but I just wanted to try something different in my older years in life. Just got there and started riding, so I really enjoy it.
All right, so you put emphasis on older years, so I guess Evel Knievel won't be anywhere in your name where riding bikes is concerned.
No.
Okay.
Or because I like chewing my food. I do not want to suck my food through a straw, so I will not be doing any Evel Knievel riding technique style, so no.
All right, so that brings me to my final question before I move it on to the next few. But where has been one of your favorite places to ride when you go, and why?
Yeah, I really don't have a favorite place to ride because I haven't been riding that long. But I plan on taking a trip to Las Vegas as soon as COVID lift up and we get back to some sense of normalcy, whatever that may mean. But I like to take a trip to Vegas, and I also like, while I'm here in Texas, do Route 66 before I head back east. So I don't really have a favorite place yet. So maybe in a couple more years I'll be able to answer that question.
Well, that's awesome. I used to live in Las Vegas, so if you think it's hot here, my goodness, on a bike, good luck.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I call some friends to have water and refreshment waiting for you on the other side. So we'll move on to the next set of questions, and I believe that's Tony, correct?
That's right. Chief,
right.
I've got some questions for you. So, all right, Chief, we talked about riding bikes, but one of the things that's cool about this with AFD Rocks is we happen to know that you're a fan of heavy metal. So can you tell us about, tell us who your favorite band is and maybe about a great concert that you've seen?
Yeah. Let me answer the second question first. I have yet to go to a heavy metal concert, but I plan on going to one soon when this COVID stuff is over with. I'm going to find one to go to. But my favorite bands are Iron Maiden, Motley Crue, Judas Priest, a group called Accept, Metallica. I like Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne. Now, I got into heavy metal strictly by mistake. That's when I was in the Marine Corps. We lived in these Gomer Pyle, Quonset huts type of living. And so one of my friends was playing this. At the time, I called it devil music. I had just left church. I said, hey, my pastor said, you play that music backward, you hear the devil talking to you. You guys shouldn't play that music. He said, well, tell your pastor don't play it backward. He won't hear the devil. So I said, well, let me listen to what you listen to. Let me listen to it. And when he turned me on to some Iron Maiden, I've been hooked ever since. That's back in 1982 or 83. and I just been stuck on it, and but I love it. I mean, I rock out to that heavy metal. It's crazy, but I'm a metalhead. It is.
That's awesome, Chief. Hey, so speaking of the Marines, I got another question for you. So we know that you're a proud Marine. Why did you choose the Marine Corps? And then also, you just gave us one lesson you learned in your Marine experience. But is that the best one you got, or is there a key lesson
Yeah.
that you kind of
Well,
lean on
well,
still?
well, let me tell you, I joined the Marine Corps. Don't know why I joined the Marine Corps. I just knew when I was leaving high school. I graduated from high school June 6, 1982, and June 13, that Friday, I was saying, "Good morning, First Sergeant." Yes, sir. Might I please have another one? I mean, it wasn't 6 days later that I was in the boot camp, standing on some yellow footprints, letting the sand fleas of South Carolina bite on me. Um, but no particular reason why I joined the Marine Corps. I'm glad I joined the Marine Corps because they got my mind right overnight. You know, I'm leaving high school, no skills, no workable skills really, and no clear direction on what I want to do in life. So what the Marine Corps did, it gave me a foundation of discipline. It taught me very different type of leadership skills. Some I like, some I do not like. But it really laid a foundation for me in the fire service on how I need to conduct myself as a fire chief. Now, I didn't think about that at the time when I was in the Marine Corps. I was happy to get in and I was happy to get out. But I am a proud Marine.
No, that's a great answer, Chief, and thank you for your service. In fact, you know, your life has been all about service, from the Marines and then in the fire service, and about leadership with the roles that you've landed in. What do you think you might be doing if you had not joined the fire service?
Wow. Well, if I would have joined the Air Force, I probably would have made a career out of it. That's like going to Cub Scout camp every day.
Not true. Not true.
But if I haven't joined the fire service, you know, I started off really, I was going to be going to law enforcement when I left the Marine Corps, get on the police department. But I quickly changed my mind, and I honestly changed my mind because I can tell you, growing up as a kid, where every house that was having illegal activity was located in my neighborhood, and I did not want to be one of the ones who be locking up my friends and people that I know who was doing stuff that shouldn't be done. So I quickly changed, becoming the fire service. But if I would not have joined the fire service, fire department, I'm not really sure what I would have be doing right now. I mean, that's a good question because I never thought about it. I just thought this never entered my mind.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Well, we're glad you did, Chief. All right, that's all the questions I have for you, sir.
All right, I'm next. I got some, Chief. What does the G stand for in Joel G. Baker? What's its significance to you, and why do you keep that in your signature?
Well, because G stands for gorgeous, great, goodness. Now,
Great.
Fred G. Sanford.
It may stand for goofy at times, but it stands for Gregory. And it's just something I just kept in my signature just since high school. I always signed that G. Never use Gregory. I just keep the G in there, but no other significance. Just my middle name, Gregory.
All right. All right. Now, you are a man of large stature and very fond of saying that old man fine, but with your height, what's the most challenging part of being 6'5"?
The most challenging part of being 6'5", having big feet and trying to find some shoes that you like to purchase. Wearing size 15, you know, it's just hard to get boots and shoes. You know, since I've been here in Austin, I have purchased some cowboy boots. Never wore boots in my life until I came to Texas. And if I would have come to Texas, I probably still would not be wearing boots. But it's hard to find the style of boots that I like in a size 15D Delta. So the tough and shirts, long sleeve shirts where the sleeves do not come up to your elbow. The sleeves come down below your wrist here. That's another challenge that happens. Just finding clothes that you like to have. That's it.
I'll say I'm jealous because I got big feet and I should be 6 feet tall with the size of my feet, but they grew more than the rest of me did. So,
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to play Chatting with Chief Baker. We're going to give you a list, and we want you to tell us the first thing that comes to mind when we give you a word off of our list. So kind of a rapid fire, first thing that comes to mind thing. And I'm going to start us off. All right. Ready?
Well, hold on, Chris. I hope that the person behind the scene got the buzzer ready to buzz in the words that I may say that I shouldn't be saying. So, Chris, get the buzzer ready.
Safe place here, Chief. Safe place. Safe place. All right. First one is sandwich.
Roast beef.
Roast beef. All right. Season.
Salt.
Okay. All right. Superpower.
Black Panther.
Black Panther. Okay.
All right. Soda.
Coca-Cola.
Of course, Atlanta. Yeah. Fear or phobia?
Phobia.
All right, we'll leave
Good
it there.
answer.
Disney,
You got to pick one.
Good answer.
Disney-
Good answer.
Disney character.
This is Mickey Mouse.
All right, Chief. TV show.
Fred Sanford.
How about book?
Book. I would say Good to Great.
All right. Cartoon character.
Flintstones. Why? I just aged myself then, didn't I?
Classic. It's a classic. Vacation spot.
Hawaii.
Nice. Pet.
Dog.
Okay. Hidden talent.
Hidden talent. Witty. Quick
Nice.
thinking.
Okay. Last meal.
Last meal. Beef brisket.
Biggest dislike.
Fake people.
All righty.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, that was good. Well, that rounds out the questions that we have for you. Like I said, they were going to be questions in which we could get to know you a little better, a little different than, hey, as the chief, what do you do? How do you like what you're doing? We get that, and we wanted to do something a little bit different. And again, we like to thank our PI office for helping us out with it. So we also like to thank you for being a good sport. We know that your day is full, and we do appreciate the time that you have taken with us in this community to allow us to get to know you a little bit better. Is there anything you'd like to say in parting?
Just thank everyone for the opportunity to be on this show today. And if you can if everybody who's listening, and we can get the word out, just pause for a moment and reflect on the Austin Police Department. I think within the last 48 to 72 hours, they have lost 2 members of their department in line due to death due to COVID-19. So my heart is out with the fire chief, with the police chief there in his department. Hope they can get through the challenging times they're going through right now. And also the members of the Austin Fire Department. Thank you so much. I want to say this on behalf of our city manager, mayor pro tem, and all the citizens of Austin. Thank you so much, Austin Fire Department members, for coming to work every day, giving us 100%, putting yourself in harm's way. You all have really stepped up to the plate, the members of the Austin Fire Department, your commitment, your service, and your willingness to serve. And I just pray that you all be safe. Please be safe. Get home safe. Stay COVID free. And thank you again so much to the members of the Austin Fire Department for the good job you do every day. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you, Chief.
We appreciate it. So as we segue on, you have a great day. We thank Chief Joel G. Baker. G stands for gorgeous, great, like Fred G. Sanford. But and goofy for taking the time and sharing some insights with us about his life and his preferences and things of that sort. So we are very, very happy for that. And as I said before, this is a community podcast in which we would like to take and unveil or move the curtain to one side or the other so that you can see what we do. And we do more than just put the wet stuff on the red stuff and putting out the fires. We do the Homeland Security mission, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. We've got building projects. We have, of course, wildfire. Again, that's going to be a big topic for the day. But in outlining some of the things that the show will be about, again, it's us taking this tool, this platform, and adding it to our toolbox of outreach to you. So we hope that we can provide something that will allow you to look at safety in a different way. And then, of course, especially with events like the last one, the last winter storm, which Winter Storm Uri, that we continue to focus on resiliency. So moving on, I would like to bring us back to the beginning where I was introducing the co-host, Division Chief Tony Hayden and Division Chief Kerry Stewart. So what I would like for them to do is come back and tell us a little bit more about what they do and what their role is here in the Austin Fire Department. And so we'll begin with Division Chief Tony Hayden. Tony, you're back on the mic.
All right, awesome. So, man, I am really excited just to get to be a part of this, and I feel like something that I can really add to this is to help with pulling that curtain back. So my role is I'm the logistics division chief for the fire department. That means that I handle a lot of the things that happen in the background that help the department to keep moving forward. So hopefully whenever I join you guys, I can help to kind of pull that curtain back, like you said, Chief, and give you a little bit of a behind the scenes tour. And I'm really proud of the people that work in my division. And I want to tell you a little bit about what we do and some of the things that have to happen in order to help us as the fire department to show up at your emergency scene to make your day better. So I'm in charge of our facilities group, and our facilities group, they're the ones that keep all of our stations running. We got to have a place for our crews to spend those 24 hours where they're on duty. We got 50 different fire stations and 11 different support buildings. That I have a 5-person team that manages it, and they respond to about 1,700 different facilities maintenance requests each year. So they stay super busy just keeping us able to respond. In addition to them, our operations support team, they manage everything with our fire trucks, from the build out of them and how we want them to look, what we're going to put on them, how they're outfitted, and how those tools even fit on there. In addition, they manage our small engine repairs for things like our lawn equipment, and scheduling out all the things we have to do annually to keep our ladders and our hose, to keep everything in service and ready to go, so that when we do show up at that fire ground, they can trust that hose that they pull off to function right, and that ladder for the latches to hold, so they can get up that window to make a difference on saving somebody's life. And then another piece of it is our air shops. Behind the scenes, whenever you see those videos or those pictures of a firefighter, maybe they just finished doing a rescue, or maybe they're pulling that rack line in to go on that fight. You see on their back an air tank, right? And that air shop team that I have does a great job of managing that. We have 575 SCBAs that they deal with. That's about 1,700 cylinders, 1,200 masks. They do about 1,500 repairs annually for my team there.
Tony,
and they also manage all the testing. Yes, sir.
What is an SCBA?
Sure. SCBA stands for self-contained breathing apparatus. And like I said, that's that pack that you see on firefighters' back. We wear it just like a backpack, pulls it nice and tight around your waist and shoulders, holds it to them, and then a mask goes right up to your face. It gives you the fresh air so you can breathe inside of that smoke-filled atmosphere. And so those guys, they do a great job. My whole team, I'm really proud of them and the work they do. And then one of my greatest joys in this job is I get to be responsible for our construction and renovation projects in the fire department. A piece of our vision statement says that we want to honor tradition while embracing inclusion, equity, and diversity for all. And that's one of the highlights that I try and do when we're looking at what are we doing with these buildings to make them better, right? We want to honor that tradition of the station, especially on a renovation. When the crew comes back to it, we want it to feel like home. But we also want to bring in that second half is where I really think of like innovation, things that really help us to improve things like equity. I'm really excited because we're able to do these 18 different projects right now over the next 18 months. It's a huge undertaking. We're really making a big improvement in the stations and the facilities that our crews work in. And I'll tell you what, Jeff, in just a little bit when we get back to me, I'm going to give you guys a better look at what that actually looks like.
All right, appreciate it.
Right.
And I was thinking about this. When I first met you, Tony, it was probably, I don't know, almost 8 years ago, and we met at the Jewish Community Center because they were doing
That's right.
public safety presentation, and it was bringing in police, fire, and some other guests to kind of talk about the See Something, Say Something extension of the things that we do, the Homeland Security mission. So it was just one of those things that was on my mind earlier today. But it leads into Chief Stewart, because I think I've known Chief Stewart a little bit longer than I've known you. Actually, Carrie and I have been in the same battalion for a long time, coming up in special operations, and we even spent a little time together at Station 14. And then again down at the Training or Education Services Division. And, when Chief was talking about, when you mentioned about his saying about working out, and he's got this thing about, wanting to be high school fine, but he's going to settle for old school fine. And you shared your story about working out. I'm trying to work out again myself, but I'm calling it the Justin Timberlake. I'm trying to bring my sexy back, but it's just not replying. I'm calling for it, and it's not replying. So I say that to say that Chief Stewart has also been involved with the fitness program with the peer fitness trainers, and I was once a long time ago one of those folks as well. But right now, Chief Stewart has the major mission of our wildfire division, and this week she and her team were before City Council, and they had some open town hall meetings and what have you to kind of talk about the preparation and some of the things that we've been doing with our preparation for this new wildfire effort that we've got going on. So Chief Stewart, in introducing you again and telling us more about you, please tell us more about your role.
Thank you. So Carrie Stewart, I am in charge of the wildfire division for the Austin Fire Department, and we do have a really well-staffed division in the wildfire division. In it, we have sworn members, so firefighters who are sworn in for the city, and a lot of civilian staff that help push our mission out to the community and into operations for the fire department. So I'm going to discuss it as three legs of a stool, and that's the National Cohesive Strategy for Wildfire and Wildfire Mitigation. The first leg of that stool is fire adapted communities. So our goal in the wildfire division is to empower our community to harden against wildfire, and we want our community to be resilient against wildfire. And that doesn't mean that we will stop every wildfire, but that just means if and when an event happens, that we will be able to withstand that fire and bounce back from it and recover from it. So we always say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we have another larger wildfire event. So we're just working to make sure that we are hardened against those events in the eventuality that they come. So we work to increase the number of community wildfire protection plans that we have in the city, and the number of fire-wise communities and engaged communities with wildfire and the wildfire division. So communities can reach out to the wildfire division to find out about becoming more engaged to harden against wildfire. And we want to encourage this across the city. It's not just a thing for the west side of the city, not just a thing for the east side of the city. We want the entire city of Austin, Travis County, to be engaged to harden against wildfire. We do have around 20 fire-wise communities, which is really great for a municipality our size. So we just want to encourage folks to continue to reach out to us and engage for wildfire preparedness. We do say wildfire is everyone's fight. That's because from our city leadership to the fire department to the individual homeowner, we all have a role to play. Our partners at PARD, AWU, APD, EMS, transportation, we are all going to have a role in a large scale wildfire event when that happens. And we just want to make sure that everyone is as prepared for that as they can be. So we do work a lot with our partners at PARD and AWU for our publicly owned lands. Most of that land in the city is owned by a city department. And for private landowners in the city as well, we can offer technical assistance on how to be hardened. We do have an internal fuels crew within the wildfire division that will work with PARD and AWU to mitigate against wildfire on their lands and help them in their efforts with their land management plans. And then we also do a lot of prescribed burning in the city as well. We are one of the only municipalities in the country that allows prescribed fire as a fuel mitigation technique within city limits and on city property. So those might be led by the Wildflower Center, Austin Water Utility, PARD, or the fire department may lead those. But again, a great collaboration to be able to burn and use prescribed fire, which is, we say that there's planned fire and there's good fire and there's bad fire. So prescribed fire is good fire that's helping us mitigate those fuels that we don't want to allow a bad fire to happen on those lands. So a really great program that we're able to use prescribed fire in the city. Like Chief Jeff mentioned, we just did a wildfire preparedness town hall this week on Wednesday with some of our partners in the county and some of our city council members hosting that. If you're interested in having a similar town hall or want to reach out to us to learn more about our fire adapted communities, please contact us at firewildfire@austintexas.gov, and we can work to get you more engaged. The second leg of our stool is fire resilient landscapes. So again, working with those land owning partners, PARD, AWU, county properties as well, to do either shaded fuel breaks, prescribed fire, and there are some other tactics that we can use to reduce our fuels in the wildland areas. We also have the new Wildland Urban Interface Code in the city, and we are the largest municipality in the country to adopt the WUI code. It's geared towards new construction and remodels being hardened against wildfire and using building components that are going to be hardened against wildfire and help us keep our structures to where they're resilient against wildfire. And you can also look for more information online about the WUI code if you're interested in voluntarily adopting those principles to harden your property against wildfire. And then the third leg of our stool is effective firefighting. So we do provide training options and opportunities to our operations crews. And some exciting developments that we have from the Wildfire Division are that we are doing a class called the Responding to the Interface. So because we have a large wildland urban interface in the city of Austin, we're going to be delivering training to the entire Austin Fire Department. So over 1,000 firefighters in this Responding to the Interface, which is tactics that are designed towards fighting fire in that urban interface. So we'll be starting that training in 2022, and it will be delivered over the entire year to the entire department. We're also starting on October 1st, so coming up here pretty quick, a new wildfire battalion. So this will be a functional battalion that will be kind of the command element that we want to be developing for the eventuality of a wildfire event. So because those events, a large wildfire event, are very different organizationally and structurally than a structure fire that we're used to fighting as structure firefighters, we want to be building that command element that knows how to organize and lead and scale those incidents appropriately and properly, and just kind of be SMEs for wildland and for WUI firefighting. So we're really excited about starting that wildfire battalion come October. And if you would like to learn more about what the Wildfire Division does, you can visit our Austin Area Wildfire Hub. So if you want to look for that online, it's a great website that talks about all three legs of the stool. So fire adapted communities, how to become engaged, our fire resilient landscapes, and you can look at all of the mitigation efforts that we are taking as a city across all departments on a daily basis. So those are constantly being updated. And then you can also look at the effective firefighting efforts that we have and check in on that new wildfire battalion as well. We also have a wildfire newsletter that goes out every month. So look for that and a link to that from the Wildfire Hub also. Super excited about the newsletter. It is written by one of our fire adapted communities coordinators, has some great information in it every month. And please check in with the Wildfire Division and reach out if you have any questions or concerns for us.
Thank you, Chief Stewart. That was excellent information from both of you about the many things that we have going on with the Austin Fire Department and through the divisions. So that leaves me as the final person to kind of introduce myself again and to talk a little bit more about my role. So again, I am an assistant chief with the department, and in general, the executive management role of an assistant fire chief is to assist the fire chief in directing the activities of the many divisions that we have within this department. So for Chief Hayden, his division reports to Assistant Chief Brandon Wade. Chief Stewart's division reports to Assistant Chief Andre De La Reza. So for me, I have the Homeland Security branches the Homeland Security branch that reports to me, or division, and then the Fire Prevention division that reports. So out of the Homeland Security division, we have the hazmat team. We have everything that deals with rope rescue, water rescue, swift water rescue, wilderness rescue, and then so many other advents of the rescue mission. We also have the airport. So there is a fire station out at the airport that services ABIA or AUS and has done so for a long time now. With the 2040 plan of expanding that airport, we're involved in some aspects of expansion as well. And outside of that, we also have within our Homeland Security mission 2 liaisons that are embedded with law enforcement community. And I'll talk a little bit more about them later on. And we have the RED team, which is our Robotics Emergency Deployment Team, or our drone team. And according to reports, APD released some information this past week about their drone team. We've had our drone team for a little bit now, for a while, but it was initially linked to the wildfire mission. And now it is part of the Spec Ops mission, but it is still a resource for the entire department. And the reason I mention it is because in the latest issue of the Austin Wildfire newsletter, the author is talking about technology and resources of to date that can help us with wildfire. And one of the best things about the drone is that it gives us a bird's eye view to be able to see a wide area of land or a wide area of a scene and be able to get more eyes on more real estate. And then of course with the infrared cameras, we can have heat signatures and things that can be made available to the incident commander to be able to make decisions in a dynamic situation. So that's been one of the greatest things that we have enjoyed about our drone program and its affiliation not only with wildfire but with structures and operations. The other division that I work with, the reports, is the Fire Prevention mission. And in that division, in that mission, is the Fire Marshal's office. So wherever you see a crane in downtown Austin, know that the fire department has a part in reviewing the plans in the inspection of those buildings as it goes from the design phase to completion. We also have the WUI code. We have special events. And we also have the arson investigation division. So there are so many different things that both divisions, Homeland Security and Prevention, do in conjunction with the 2 that you've learned about from Chief Hayden and Chief Stewart that we want to continue to share with this community through this platform and this video podcast. So now that we've kind of given you an extensive or more information about what it is that we do in our roles, I'm going to kick it back to Tony. This is what we kind of have, well, our inside joke is this is our version of MTV Cribs. Again, dating myself, like the chief was dating himself. But the one thing I can assure you, unlike MTV Cribs, I think every fire station you'll walk into will not have a picture of Scarface, at least now that I mentioned it. So, Tony, back to you.
Yeah, that's right. But honestly, MTV Cribs and the Flintstones are a little bit different in their dating as well, in fairness. Hey, so I'm really excited about this. I think you guys will get a good feel for this as we kind of work through AFD ROCs. But I want to show you guys some of the things that we're able to do on our renovations. I'm going to start off with a station that is really important to me. Is one of the stations, I think all firefighters kind of have like multiple stations if they've worked at them across the city that they look at and they're like, that one's one of my homes, right? So Station 2 is a place that I worked. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about that one. It sits at 506 West MLK. It was originally built in 1932, and we did a big renovation project there that was able to make some big improvements. I think it does some of the things that I talked about earlier, some of the ways that we capture like that, honoring the tradition and bringing in the innovation. But instead of me just telling you about it, I want to let you guys get a look at it. So check this out.
Hey everybody, my name's Tony Hayden, Division Chief with the Austin Fire Department. I'd like to welcome you to the beautiful historic Fire Station number 2. This fire station has a lot of great history, and it was built in 1932 when we recently finished a major renovation that I want to show you guys when we go inside. One thing that's really cool that we found outside is look at this beautiful piece of wood it's above our bay doors, and for years that was just encased behind the wood that hid it. Our crews at Southwest Construction were able to remove the wood in front of it, open it up, and allow us to see that as we add to the beauty of this historic station. Come on inside and let's take a look. So here we are, we're in the day room at Fire Station 2. The day room is a place where the crew gets to spend some downtime, but they also can do some of their training and continuing education together as a team in this room. One of the things that we really wanted to do with the design of this station was to really identify the community that it serves and to really be able to embrace the community. And Fire Station 2 in its geographic location serves the University of Texas as one of its main customers. So as we walk through the station, you'll notice the burnt orange accent walls as we really try to embrace the community that we serve and that this station has proudly served for years. So come check it out. Now we're standing in the station's kitchen and dining area. One of the things we really wanted to do with this building was make it feel like home when the crews came back following the remodel. The first floor feels a lot like it did before the remodel, and this is an area that our crews spend a lot of time together as families, cooking and cleaning and eating meals together. Because we spend so much time together, we really do have a family atmosphere. So one of the nice perks we were able to add was this functioning fireplace. So here we are in our newly remodeled weight room. In the past, our crews had to work out outside in the truck bay, which was nice, but this is a better place for them to work out. It's going to give us a healthier, stronger workforce where they're ready to respond for their calls. And again, it's a great opportunity for us to use the burnt orange color scheme for us to help us to really remind ourselves of the community that we're here to serve. This station houses a battalion chief. In the Austin Fire Department, we have battalion chiefs across the city who are responsible for a number of crews and their responses that they go on. They provide command and control, and they also set up the board for who's going to be at work on any given day. One of the biggest things driving this project was gender equity. So in this building, we were able to replace the existing restrooms with gender-neutral restrooms. Now these are really nice restrooms that give our crews an opportunity, regardless of their gender, to come in, be able to grab a shower, use the restroom as a single user. This area upstairs is the living quarters. So one of the big changes to this building was the addition of individual locker rooms. These locker rooms are a great addition for our crews. It gives them the opportunity to control their own light, their own temperature. They're able to get a good night's rest and be able to be a better rested workforce in order to better serve the community. So we want our crews to be able to respond at a moment's notice from wherever they are in the station. The fastest way to get to the truck room bay from upstairs is the fastest way down. I'll tell you what, why don't you guys meet me downstairs in the bay? Another one of the really good additions to this building is the addition of turnout storage system. So that's what's inside of these burnt orange roll-up doors. Take a look. This replaces the old use of cabinets and lockers that would sit along the walls or hooks that kept our turnout gear out and exposed to the elements or to diesel exhaust fumes from our vehicles. This gives them a safe place to be that keeps us away from the gear and the gear away from everything else. It has a dehumidifier to help keep our gear nice for us, and we're really proud of this addition. It's another way to help keep our workforce healthy. We talked earlier about preserving some of the history of the old historic station, and what you'll see up above me here is this tin ceiling. It actually brilliantly recreates the original tin ceiling that was in the old building. It's one of the ways that we were able to do an upgrade while also keeping some of the great historic look and feel of this beautiful station. All right, so thanks again for coming and joining us. We really hope you enjoyed a look at our fire station number 2. Of course, no project like this is possible without lots of help. So we really want to thank the mayor, the city council, and the city manager for helping to make gender equity a priority for the City of Austin Fire Department. We also want to thank our friends at Southwest Construction and at Casabella Architects and at Austin Public Works for taking our concepts into a reality. And of course, we want to thank the University of Texas at Austin for helping provide us with some temporary facility to keep this crew close by during our construction process. Thanks, everybody. Can't wait to see you at the next station opening.
All right, Tony, excellent job.
Nice job, Tony.
Yeah,
So-
thank you. No, I'm really proud of that, the way that station came out. One of the things I'm looking forward to on future episodes of AFD Rocks is to continue to just give that kind of behind the scenes tour of what it looks like inside of our station. So I hope you guys will come back for some more of those.
You need to get that on the Discovery Channel somehow with the remodels and the historic part. Be a great.
We're working on it.
Discovery
Yeah, we're
Channel
working
show.
on that.
I noticed you didn't mention snoring for benefit of the individual bedrooms, that you don't get to hear as much snoring or
No, but it is.
throw
It is a
pillows at each
benefit
other in the
for
middle of the
sure.
night. So yeah.
Well, not only that, excellent job demonstrating one of the old traditions, and that's sliding down the pole. There have been lots of people that have lost knees and backs for doing it incorrectly, but a perfect 10 on that one.
Thanks, Chief. They're pretty safe if you train on them.
Well, again, we appreciate the effort and the time, not only with you, but also with Chris Wilkins, our videographer and member of the PIO office in making that happen. And again, for the folks out there, that's your tax dollar at work, you know, and we really
right.
appreciate it. And we're doing our best as good stewards to make sure that you get a return. So as we are able to rest well and store our equipment in ambient temperatures where it's not damaged by the sun and what have you, then it's safer for us to respond and get out there and meet those needs of those individuals that are experiencing a very bad day. So again, thank you all very much. So
Yeah,
this
well
brings us to the final segment of the show. And again, we want to be able to broadcast to you all at least once a month. We're looking right now at the last Friday of every month at 11 a.m. for AFD Rocks. And what we want to bring to you are insightful pieces of information, again, for safety and resiliency. We'd also like to bring special guests from a wide range of this community to offer their insight about fire safety and safety in general from the public safety community. So again, as we've mentioned many times before, we want to unveil and kind of move the curtain back to the side or move it away so you can kind of see some of the other things that we do and how we contribute to the community. So we are very excited about this project, this endeavor, and many more great things to come. So as I look to close out, it's going to be a bit on a somber note. As Chief Baker mentioned earlier, there were 2 APD officers that we have lost this week due to COVID-19. And we want to keep them and their families in our thoughts and prayers. But at the same time, we want to encourage everyone to keep themselves safe by taking all precautions to minimize and stop the spread of this virus. And then lastly, we lost someone in the fire community last week to an on-duty loss. And let me back up. The 2 officers were Officer Steve Urias and Randolph Boyd. The firefighter that was lost, who belonged to the Jollyville Fire Department, was Dylan Rodiek. Did I pronounce that correctly? But again, we want to extend our condolences and sympathy to those families. So we're rolling up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And every year, the first responder community does something to commemorate those events on that day. And in the fire service, we lost over 300 of our members in New York City. And we do a tower climb in remembrance of that. And that's in association with our local 975. So this year will be no different, except for the precautions that will be taken for the COVID-19 procedures. But we want to, as the show only airs once a month, we want to be able to share our thoughts with you about, a very important day, not only in American history, world history, but within our community. So I'll start with Tony to kind of share some of his thoughts about, his career and where 9/11 has fallen in with that.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and I'll just kind of go back to that day. On September 11th, 2001, my wife and I were driving back to Austin. We'd been out of town, so we were actually listening to the events unfold on the radio as opposed to watching it on TV like so many other people did. I remember stopping at a gas station that had a TV on where we saw one of the towers fall and just being just so overwhelmed by it, and the reality of that I'm driving to Austin to go to work that day. And I know that hit really hard to me and also to my wife as we were kind of identifying what was going on with the fire service and the firefighters that were dying as a result of the events of 9/11. And then the second thing that I remember is once we were back and the world was kind of starting to work again, I remember I was driving engine 8 in sitting on a scene, and I saw an airplane flying for the first time again after air traffic had been stopped, and just thinking about how strange it was to see the world kind of returning to normal following that, but knowing that it would never be the same. So those are my thoughts on 9/11 and kind of my memories and how they relate to the fire service.
Thank you, Tony. Carrie?
So I was driving at the time too. I remember I was driving northbound on South Lamar when I was listening to it on the radio as well. And I had only been in the department for a little over a year. So just over a year that I'd been out at the station, and went on to shift that day. And it was the most surreal shift that I've ever experienced, because we all just sat and watched the news all day, and very little was said. A little bit of shock, I think, a little bit of respect for those who had lost lives that day. And what I remember the most is how our communities all came together right after that, and for the months, if not years, following. Whether it was folks visiting the fire station or just that kind of that common sense of camaraderie as a country that we all felt post 9/11. And to kind of compare that to what we're going through now, that I hope that we can continue to come together as a community and remember the feelings that we had back then, that we all had a common purpose, and that we were all coming together after that tragedy. And lots of people have lost lives in the last year and a half to COVID. And so I hope that we continue as a community to pull the good things that we can, and to come together to support each other right now as we move forward, hopefully coming out of COVID soon. So.
Spot on. Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I remember the same thing. I was driving as well. I was dropping off one of my children at school, heard it on the radio, and by the time I got back to the house and turned on the television, that's when the second plane flew into the second building. And then from that point for hours, like everyone else, glued to the television, I was talking for hours with my brother, who also at the time, I was in the Air Force Reserves. I'd spent time in the Air Force, been over in the Middle East, active duty, and he was in the Navy and been around as well. And we were talking about, what does it mean now as we move forward? And one of the things you really touched upon, Carrie, was how the community came together. And I do remember a newspaper article by a columnist out of Florida who wrote about, whoever you are, basically the tone was whoever you are, you done stepped in it now, and that's when things started following after that. But, what I also remember from that in this aftermath was we went on being in the Special Operations Battalion on the hazmat team. We were on a plethora of white powder calls because that was when someone started sending anthrax letters across the nation, soon thereafter. So that was another shoe that dropped for the fire service, and that was responding to a lot of the white powder calls. And then I did get deployed as well, and I had a different type of deployment. I was actually deployed stateside. I didn't go forward, but in the wake of 9/11 was, September 11, 2001, and 2002 was the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I had a very unique opportunity at that time being deployed to help stand up a contingency fire station that would provide air support over the Olympic venues. So as we were sending people forward, we still had fighter aircraft flying over parts of the U.S. because we still didn't know what was coming next. And one of the things that's very significant about 9/11 and the fire service is that it created another career avenue, which involves homeland security. It's one of the reasons why we have the battalion that we have now, and it's set up the way that it's set up, and also why we have liaisons within the fire department that are working with law enforcement, not only locally but at the federal level with the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. So events like that have changed history, have changed time, but have also created different opportunities for, and I hate to say it that way, but within our career field, there was a different opportunity through fusion centers, and then TSA was created. TSA did not exist before 9/11, so it had a very big impact on what we do and how we now work and serve here in the U.S. So with September 11th coming, again, it's the 20th anniversary. The month of September is also National Preparedness Month. Again, I'll say that, National Preparedness Month. And the theme this year is Prepare to Protect. Preparing for disasters is protecting everyone you love. And if you go to ready.gov/September, there'll be a list of things that you can do to look at preparation for disasters. And so with that being said, I hope you learned a little bit about us. I hope that we were able to provide something for you. And of course, we appreciate Chief Baker stopping in and joining us today. We're hoping that you can make this a part of your normal monthly schedule. Again, the last Friday of every month at 11 a.m. We want to get out here and rock with you. AFD Rocks is going to be here for a while. Carrie?
Yep, not a one-time thing. So last Friday of every month, our next live show is scheduled for September 24th at 11 a.m. So please join us then for the next round of AFD Rocks and how to tune into the fire department.
Yeah, and honestly, everybody, the best way to do that, the best way to join us for those is to right here on this YouTube channel, if that's where you're watching it, the Austin Fire Department YouTube, is to go ahead and subscribe to us, give us a like, and share the link so others can join us as well the next time we get together.
And so the next time we get together will be just as fun as it was today. I want to thank you all for joining us, taking time out of your day to be with us. Dispatch, you can have this channel back. We are out.